Hi guys, it's great to see you. So today I'm going to be looking at some older vintage and pre-war tracks and also some cars from that era that you may not have in your collection. As ever, everything in the video, there are links in the description to download that, so do check that out. And some of these tracks that I'm going to be showing you today have these awesome banked curves that must have been absolutely terrifying back in the day. As ever, if you are new here, do check out the rest of the channel. There's lots more sim racing there. And if you do like what you see, it would be great to have you on board. So clicking on that subscribe button would be fantastic. Okay then, let's jump into the first track. The first track on the list is in Terramar, and this is Catalonia, Spain. So this track was made in 1923, and after a couple of initial Grand Prix it was used sporadically up to the 1950. It's a banked oval, very typical of the time, and it is absolutely fantastic to drive with all this close racing with these vintage cars. And talking of the vintage cars, in this footage I'm driving the Fiat, the Voisin, the Sunbeam and the Mercedes, so all those links are in the description below, so do check them out, they are fantastic to drive. And of course all of these cars are from the 1920s era. Let's move on then to something a little bit more famous, and this is Monza from pre-war. So why do I like this track? Well, it's a mixture of a circuit track and an oval. So when you're doing a lap of this track, you actually go around parts of the home straight twice. It is fantastic to drive, and here I'm driving in the 1928 Mercedes-Benz. Again, the link is in the description below. I also like the details that are on this track, so the billboards are fantastic, love the advertising, and the textures on those billboards look very realistic. Also these towers that are scattered around the track with the marshals in there with the speed timers, absolutely fantastic. Driving these period tracks with these period cars is good fun, but I also think bringing more modern cars onto tracks like this, especially F1 cars and touring cars on these banked ovals, would be brilliant too. So do try that out and let me know how it gets on. Next up we have one of the most famous tracks in the world, and that is of course Spa. So this is the pre-war edition again, and it's slightly different from the vintage edition that I showed on the channel recently. So to drive this I'm going to drive the Auto Union Streamliner. Now this is a fantastic car, and it was such a fast car for its time. Now on these back straights here you will be getting close to 200 miles an hour with this car, and it is a beast to drive. So if you've not driven this, the standard Auto Union car, do grab that car, but this one should be an essential for your collection, especially if you like vintage racing. And it's a real challenge to drive, especially around corners going quickly, as you can see. Great fun though. And of course this vintage Spa pre-war track is looking gorgeous with the latest Sol and CSP settings on. Of course this track is slightly different from the standard Spa track, even the previous vintage track that I've covered. So do check it out and let me know in the comments what you think. Let's look at another vintage track then, and this is Donnington from 1938. This is a very famous track in the UK, in England, and it's changed so much from this version. To showcase this track, I'm going to be driving the Jaguar C-Type. So this is a 200 brake horsepower Jaguar from 1953, and it just fits nicely with this track. So this track is very different from where we are currently in present day. And one of the biggest changes is this wooded area here, complete with a very narrow tunnel for you to drive through. It must have been terrifying, but this is fantastic to drive. The C-Type is matched really well to this track as it's very tight and twisty, and the C-Type with its 200 brake horsepower more than makes up with the lack of power the way it goes around the corners on this track. So that was Donnington from 1938. I think it's probably one of my favourite in this video. Really great to drive. But the next one is brilliant too, and that is from the city of Linas in France, 1930. And this circuit comes with 6 different layouts. This is a long circuit with some great straights where you can really get up to speed in these vintage cars, but it has got enough corners and curves in it to keep you on your toes also. One of the great things about this track is there's 6 different layouts, and one of the layouts on here is a speed oval, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. All of the cars that are in this video, as I said at the beginning, are in the description below, and they're all from the 1920s again, and the Mercedes that I'm driving here matches really well with the voicing, the Fiat and the Sunbeam from Nice Cup of Tea. Some awesome modding being done on here, and as ever I always give a massive shout out to the modders. They are really keeping this game alive, and there is so much content for you to enjoy. One of the layouts on this track then is an oval, so let's take a trip around the oval in these vintage cars. I think that bumpy oval in these vintage cars would have been absolutely terrifying, but it's great fun on Assetto Corsa. As ever guys, thank you for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope I've added more to your collection of vintage tracks and cars on Assetto Corsa. If you do like the video, do give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you very soon.